Okay, thank you. All right, I'd like to call our Finance and Audit meeting for May 7th to order at 8:31 a.m. We have all members present except for Eric. We have minutes for approval, item 2.1 from April 9th. I'll entertain a motion for approval. John makes the motion and Brian seconds. Is there any concerns or modifications? No? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public comments?
We have none?
None? Anyone?
Last call.
Bueller? Okay. Member comments? Does any member have comment? No? I have both Alex and Sandra would like to address the committee regarding some resolutions. So if they could both come forward, I'm just going to do that under member comments, my comments, I guess. So I'm going to have them speak through my voice.
Okay, I will go first. Thank you. Good morning. So we're bringing this forward, and it's going to be under new business at the COW. We apologize because we have a couple of resolutions coming forward this month that are not going necessarily through the committee process. So this resolution is for the training facility. So it's Fund 222, which is funded by the members of the Training Facility Board, which is the Sheriff's Office, Algonquin, Lincoln Hills, Cary, and McHenry. We have an issue out there with our ejector pump, and it's taken a while. We've been looking at this for a while. We have all the pipes in the building on the side that's not being used and the training side. All the pipes go down to the floor into this pit, and then the ejector pump pushes the waste out. Well, the ejector pump isn't working very well, so in the morning we have to go and prime it by flushing all the toilets several times before individuals come so that we don't have any issues with backup. So we've been working with facilities and trying to come up with a solution that doesn't include replacing all the pipes upstairs, and a new ejector pump is the solution. We were able to find, they went out to quote, and they found one for under $30,000. So the resolution is bringing that forth so we can get moving on fixing that before we get into our busy season with trainings this summer.
So the resolution is asking for a budget amendment. So it's not authorization for the contract, it's under the $30,000, but they'll need to move money in Fund 222 from one area to the other to fund, is that correct?
Correct, yes. Thank you, Scott. We're moving it from the bank into our budget so that we can use the money.
Sure. Does anyone have any questions about what will be at the committee of the whole then? I mean, you'll have opportunity to ask them too, but just, okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Got to move the line.
Yep.
Okay.
Morning. I'm also here to ask for, we'll be putting forward the reappointment of one of our board of review members. It almost got past me before it was too late to do anything. His appointment is up at the end of the month, and we realized it's late this week, and we thought we'd bring it up. He is our board of review chairman. He's been doing this for six years now, I believe. He's doing a great job, and we'd like to continue that consistency. The pool of other board of review members that are available to us is virtually non-existent. We still have the one open spot. We do have some candidates, or a candidate currently applying for that position, but there isn't a slew of other people to consider replacing. And he's a really good board review member, so we'd like to keep that consistency. So that's going to be coming through as well. So I just wanted to know if you had any questions, or I know I'm just throwing it out there, but we would like to move forward with the reappointment of that board review member.
So that's just, so for board members, that's typically something that we do an interview and make a recommendation. If this committee truly wants to do interviews, then we would have to postpone that. But if we're okay with what Alex is recommending, then we don't need to actually go through the formal part of the interview. So does anyone have any issue?
Seems like it's time critical. Good recommendation. That's probably what I'd be going with anyway. So okay. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Good.
All right,
All right.
thank you very much.
Appreciate it. All right, are there any other member comments? No? Okay, then we'll on to news business 5.1. I'll entertain a motion to approve item 5.1. John and Brian. Does anyone have any questions for Sandra? John?
Good morning,
Morning.
again.
Is this the updated one?
This is an updated one,
Okay.
so, I spoke with Carrie and she said that I made it too complicated, this resolution. So I put together, a new one, and this one takes out moving money, funds from inmate welfare and we're putting it into the general fund for inmate food, because we can just do that administratively, so we don't need to do that within the resolution. So essentially what we are asking is to move forward with CCI for the construction portion of the flooring, and then authority to spend over $30,000 with 3 chefs who will be providing food during the construction phase.
Does anyone have any? Yep, Larry?
To exceed 30,000, is there any, I didn't look at this real close, but is there any guesstimate on how much it will be?
There is, so that was in the original one, because we're gonna be moving money. So the project, we're estimating between 15 and 20 days, we're hoping for 15. If it's 15 days, we're looking not to go over 120,000 for food. So this was a little complicated and there's a lot of moving parts. Before they can start the construction, we have to move equipment out of the kitchen, and that's gonna be done by facilities and Hobart, who is one of the manufacturers of some of the larger pieces of equipment. Then, so when that starts, we have to start using 3 chefs for food because the kitchen is closed. We're required to provide 3 meals a day to inmates, 1 has to be hot. Trinity, who's our current vendor, we worked with different options, and that included a very expensive mobile unit in the parking lot, which we'd have to run water, waste lines, electric out to, and it was a 3-month minimum. That didn't make sense. We looked at using Lake County, who also uses Trinity for their food vendor. Again, that offered, there's a big expense. We still had to have on-site coolers for the food, and the transportation part was a little tricky, especially with keeping food warm. So working with Carrie's procurement people, we were able to get 3 chefs on board and have them, they're gonna do 3 deliveries a day, which is excellent, they're local. They're gonna provide good food.
Yeah, it's one of my concerns.
Yeah, I know, it's a great menu. So, which is good because at least during this process, we don't know what's gonna happen, right? We're hoping for a smooth 15-day, move stuff out, put the flooring, move stuff back in, and we're good to go. But if there are some kinks in that system, you know, at least we got a local person and they know we walk through kind of other scenarios too for that.
So, does the health department have to be involved as far as inspections go?
I don't believe so because the food is not being prepared on
No, I mean with your kitchen.
Okay, I'm looking through facilities this year. I don't think so. Because a part of the bid that went out included the environmental factor that they have to bring on-site individuals to monitor the air quality during that time, because of course our windows don't open and there's gonna be a lot of dust and stuff. But I don't know about the food part. I would have to ask Tom Burrows, because he helped put the bid together, but
I just know when I redid our kitchen at the restaurant, the health department had a.
well, the health department comes in and they monitor our kitchen all the time.
Correct, right.
So, I mean, I can reach out to Melissa and have her staff run through, after it's done, but.
I wouldn't want to be in non-compliance with our county health department.
Agreed.
We'll have to follow the rules like everybody else.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're putting everything back, we're not changing out any equipment or anything, everything is putting it back right where it started.
Same number of sinks and wash tubs and yada yada.
Correct.
Terry?
So I just want to clarify, this is the sheriff's inmate welfare account and it will not affect the general fund?
Correct.
All of it?
All of it.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll go to vote then on item 5.1. Brian?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, can I just clarify, that is on the corrected resolution, right, that I
Yes.
handed out? I'll work with Kathy to make sure that's,
Yeah.
when it shows up.
Right, got it. We're on to item 7, routine consent agenda. Are there items that members would like removed? Brian?
7.4, please.
Yes. I was gonna pull it too, so yeah, that's fine. Terry?
7.4, 7.6, 7.9, 7.2.
Any others? Yes, Carol?
7.3.
3?
Didn't you just pull them? Oh, I'm sorry, I meant to pull it too, sorry.
Any others? So the ones that I'm showing pulled are 3, 4, 6, 9, and 10. Correct? Yes? Okay.
3, 4, 6, and 7.
Yes. Okay. So then with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve items 7.1, 7.2, 7.5, 7.7, 7.8, and 7.11. John makes a motion, Brian seconds. Go to vote. Terry?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Motion carries. I just cross these off. All right, we're on to item 7.3 then. I'll entertain a motion for item 7.3. Larry makes the motion and John seconds. Carolyn, you pulled this one?
Yeah. I just wanted to see on this because it's utilizing the interest funds to continue to pay for a position. And the position, I'm thinking it's the manager position, right? So what I'm wondering is, once that runs out, how does that square? I mean, because we're saying we need that to continue to monitor ARPA receipts and reimbursements, which we know is going to continue on for the next year. But
Well,
this
no,
is-
it should end at the end of this year. I mean, it may go a month or two into next year, but
Well, they have to expend the money, but in terms of, how far into the next year would we go then?
It'll be end of January, we're on our accrual, so we will be still processing, and we kind of expect we may be following up on some projects as well. There could be some internal audit implications or tips or any concerns that can express. And I need to make sure I have staff consistent through that time as well. Right now, we're currently short-staffed. I have someone on leave, and the staff that I do have, I need to make sure I have some continuity, because if I know I'm losing them at the end of the season, I'm not gonna, during the busiest time, have staff. They're gonna look for a job now. And so then I'll be down 2 staff, and I have an operational issues then in this fiscal year, because I'm not, the person on leave, there's not 100% certainty that they're coming back as well. And then next year, we want to right-size the office and assess based on the current workload, what staff we need. I will have more staff fully up to speed on the internal audit side, and they're all getting stronger because we'll have more continuity. And we're long-term, I don't want to fund this position, or I'd like to, if this position stays on, fund it through alternative funding sources, or if we can right-size with part-time staff. The makeup of my office may look potentially different next year depending on what staff I currently have there. So right now we need it to continue for operations this year, and we need to be able to look ahead for staff, because if there was a short end date, it's gonna end sooner then. The moment they'll be out looking sooner. But ARPA really will continue for us. Maybe the reimbursements, the payables will end into January, at the end of January, but internal audit and just following up and looking at things, there's project closeout she's doing. So it's logical to kind of go through at least the first half of the year. With that, I put out into November because we know we'll need to be reducing staff kind of leading up to that. It will happen either gradually or if there's future grants that we end up getting and we do need to keep a little bit larger staff. We are in general short staff. I envision I need at least a part-time person. Not sure 100% yet that I would need to still keep a full-time person on in that role or a similar role, but next year we could right-size the office, make an assessment how AI is impacting D365. We are adding AI into our internal audit software, and we have yet to, we're still looking at the contract with AI to see how that impacts operations of the internal audit program. So we'll know more by next year, but we really need this to continue funding this position so we can make it through the end of this year and kind of assess once my other position comes back, how we are from an operations standpoint.
Do you have other questions?
I'm sure you're probably going to jump in with similar questions too, so I'll just ask one, and I'm sure you'll catch up with others that I might miss. But okay, so you have, and I don't want to get too involved in the structure because I understand that you're looking to maybe change some things up. I guess my only concern was funding a position that's listed as a manager that to me isn't just doing ARPA reviews. It's a more broad position. And that was my concern of using that, utilizing that money, because going forward, that money's running out. That was all. And you've got, it looks like which position is out right now?
One of my part-time positions.
Okay. All right.
It could pretty much have all staff working on ARPA at different times of the week, or occasionally helping on different things. But it's hard to, it was just easier to assign it to a position.
Well, and that's good, as long as you're recognizing that that's going away and you're trying to adjust accordingly. Yes. That was my concern. So it sounds like you already
on top of every week
are doing that.
Right. What we're kind of looking at long-term. There's different strategies with potential grants, looking at collaboration with different departments, or if I have staffing change internally, reorging the office. I really enjoy having some part-time staff because if one person is sick, kind of part-time can be shifted a little bit more easily than just having, especially in a small office, some part-time options give more flexibility with just managing the day-to-day office. And if someone's on medical leave, if a part-timer's on leave, it takes less of a load to the office than one of my 4 full-time employees. So we're just looking at ways to save, and long-term, I want to be cognizant and lead by example for other departments, and not just spend money or add staff into the general fund. We want to see if we could do business differently as well, because we make recommendations on a daily basis to other departments. But in the short term, we still have a heavy workload and need to address our short-term needs. And I'm bringing this now versus just through the budget because I need to plan with my staff in the short term. Like, we need answers now to know what we need to do, because that November 30th date is coming up quick.
Carolyn, do you have any other questions? Okay. Terry, go ahead.
Great. Thank you, and thank you for your explanation. You are detail-oriented, and that's what makes you great at your job, and I appreciate that. To simplify this specific resolution, this is not coming out of general funds, nor is there any intention. It's coming strictly out of ARPA interest. And there's an end date to this position related to the project. And that would be at some point in first quarter of 2027, which at that point, you're already going to be looking at the reorg of your department and seeing how this plays. Would it be possible for us to have a tickler date to revisit this at some point in first quarter, where you would be able to assess what's going on in your department, bring back notification of where this stands, specifically related to this position and where you stand? Can we set that up?
Yeah, I'm open to that.
And bring it back to the committee as it will exist at that time?
And I have a meeting, Suzanne and I intend to meet here shortly about it. I've had ongoing discussions with Carrie and Scott about the long-term plans, and we're looking at a few different options. Ideally, long-term, I don't want to just have someone out of a job. If there's other alternative positions, or if we really need a part-time staff person in a slightly different role, or looking at how can we do business differently and in our office.
Take advantage of the intellectual property they've developed and experience. Yes. That's great.
And we just, everything we do in our office is highly detailed, highly technical, and I need staff that is trained and experienced in, it takes a while just to train on county government and operations and who is everyone, just shifting from private internal audit to like government internal auditing is very different as well, just, and then have a high degree level of trust. And so we can't just easily plug and play. We need to make sure things flow because it can really impact operations.
Terry, do you have any other questions? Terry, do you have any other questions? Okay. John?
I do understand the need for the position and what it's doing as far as ARPA is. I am concerned about approving a position through 2027 outside the budget process. We ask all departments to kind of go through a process and look at their people and present it at the budget time so we can look at everything holistically. So I am concerned about doing this now without not knowing where we're going to be and what uses we may have for ARPA interest money in 2027, et cetera, because I have a good handle on that. So I am concerned about that. That gives me reason to pause and approve this at this point in time. I understand the need to be able to plan, which are, but all departments have to be faced with that. All the departments within the county have to be looking at their people and their budget. And otherwise, we touch and open the door to everybody coming and saying, well, I want to fund a position in 2027 because I'm pretty sure I'm going to need it then. I just don't want to open that door at this time. That's my concern.
I'm not sure I was like as kind of touched on it, but just if one person in my office at November 30th was going to be out of a job, they would start looking now. So I have just a high risk of losing them any day when I'm short-staffed, and year end is going to be extremely busy. Takes sometimes many months to find a role. So it just would impact potential operations in the office and getting any internal audits or internal control reviews or assisting any extra departments. And then unknown yet, my part-timer. And then if I'm out 2 people, then the ability to train, it takes me months and months to train a staff. So then it's taking up my time, and they're not fully, any new people are not fully up to speed. So this is it gives us more time to fund it, and then also kind of right-size the office in the first quarter of the year, but also it gives us, time into 27 to really kind of look at staff operations and assess what we need. We really need it to extend into it because as that date gets closer, my staff will start to switch. No one wants to be out of a job, so we really need to make decisions sooner. But giving that end date kind of puts it like 6 months prior to that. Kind of helps us get through year end with vacations and a holiday and get through the busy January and February because we have to still look for cutoff in February now.
John, do you have other questions?
No,
Sorry.
that was it.
The only thing that I'll comment to that is, we as a board have already agreed that to give her an FTE to deal with the ARPA stuff. And the ARPA theoretically will continue beyond the end of this fiscal year. So I don't really have a problem extending it. I do have a problem extending it for a full year, all the way till November of 27. I would prefer to have it expire like 6 months, into the fiscal year, end of May. That would give her enough time to plan. ARPA would be completed, by then with all of the billables and payables and closing out. So I guess I'd prefer to do it only for 6 months and not a full year for the exact reasons why you're talking about. But I do feel like extending it a little bit is appropriate just because ARPA won't be over with come December 1st of this year. So that would be my comment. Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you, Chairman. I agree with both of my colleagues' comments. I think they're most appropriate. I want to make sure that we start right now saying the intent was never to continue to fund in perpetuity positions that were created as a result of ARPA funds. I think that that's something that we stated before. I want to make sure that we stick with that, but I do believe that there is a priority, if you will, of dealing with the ARPA closeouts. And we certainly don't want to interfere with that in terms of the auditing. I don't believe it's necessary for a full year through 97, but I do agree with the 6 months. But I think you need to understand, Shannon, in this instance, we're saying not after, I'll say the end of May of next year, 6 months into the next year. I would be much supportive of that.
Does anyone else have any questions?
No, and I think that's been, so the additional comments I think have been helpful, and I do kind of agree, like, I understand where you're coming from, we do need to close this out, but we could be in this position with any ARPA-related funded position where they realize that their end of job is coming and they could potentially leave early, so I think we face that no matter what. So are you making an amendment to the motion?
I can. I wanted
Okay.
everyone
No,
to
and
ask
so I understand where you're
questions
coming
first.
from on that, so I appreciate that.
So I guess I'll make a motion to amend the resolution to say that the position would be funded through, we'll just say May 31st of 2027.
I'll second.
Okay. Just making a note here. Is there any questions or comments regarding the amendment? If not, all those in favor of that amendment say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we now have an amended resolution. Is there any other questions regarding the amended resolution? If not, then we will go to vote. John?
Yes.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay, motion carries. All right, thank you. Would it be okay with the committee if we come back to 7-4 so that we can get the staff out of here for the other ones? Okay. So let's move to 7-6 then. I'll entertain a motion for item 7-6. Larry moves. Brian seconds. Terry, you pulled this one?
Yes. Yes. So I know that we have discussed this before, and I wanted to just make sure that this is clarified as to what the implications of it would be for the budget. because these two funds are already underfunded? Good morning.
Good morning.
So I just wanted to pull it out, let some light and fresh air on it so that we all understand going into the budget what this means. Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I thought you were gonna do the other resolution, so I had to get set up here.
It's okay. You know, I'm always, changing things up. Well, so this goes back to, while you're getting set up, this goes back to the discussion that we've had for, since last fiscal year, when we were talking about loan forgiveness, and in addition to the loan forgiveness, using the general fund reserves in order to right-size these funds so that levy-wise, we could right-size the levy when we're setting up the budget for this year.
So talking about the first part, so I'm handing out what's also up on the screen. So just to understand a little bit about the general fund balance. So this report is actually from our 2025 financial report. And it lists the general fund balance. So we ended 25 at 56.5 million. But when we talk about months of reserves and unrestricted, we only focus on the assigned and unassigned. So those are the two numbers that we use for calculating the months of reserve. So why is that important? Because right now, the outstanding loans to both FICA and IMRF are sitting up in this non-spendable amount, this 4.9 million. So this is how we ended 25. And so when we talk about the months of reserve and that calculation, that will not be impacted as we talk about the budget. But keep in mind, of course, there's always a cost. The opportunity that we would be missing out on is if we're just going to forgive the loans, as FICA and IMRF, if they would have been paying this back, it would move from the 4.9 down into the assigned and unassigned. So I guess where we're at right now, moving forward, it's not going to impact the months of reserve. But again, that also means it's not going to come back, so that's also not going to help us going forward. Does that make sense for clear?
You're taking it out of the left, putting it in the right, but it's more of an accounting issue.
Well, we're taking it out and it's never coming back.
Correct.
So it's not going to be able to help going forward.
We don't have it as a receivables that we can collect at some point.
Correct. So what exactly does that mean? So the numbers up at the top, so the 2025, the unrestricted reserve, so those two numbers, the 47 and the 3, total 50.9 million. So the way we calculate.
I'm sorry, could you say that again? Where are you on here?
Up at the very top.
Okay.
The general fund unrestricted. So the 50.9 is
Got
the
it.
sum of those two yellow numbers from the worksheet. So we take the 2026 budget per month is 8.8 million. So that gives us the 5.74 months of reserve. So what I did for the 2026, kind of trying to project out how we might end 2026, is I took the unrestricted reserve amount, subtracted the $1 million that the general fund currently is loaning IMRF in fiscal year 2026, and then the utilization of fund balance that we budgeted in 26. So again, I know there's a lot that can go into that number when we end 26, but for now, for this example, this is what I use. So then the next fiscal year's budget, which would be a projection of 2027 budget, is 9.4. So that would reduce our months of reserve to just over 5 months. And so I know you're all wondering why the 2026 budget went up so much.
Right, kind of a question.
Okay.
I just want to make clear, the million we've advanced to IMRF for this year is not part of this resolution.
It is.
It is?
But, so if you just look, so this report here is how we ended 2025.
Right.
And so it would reduce, so if nothing else changed, let's say, it would reduce this 47 number 246 and move it up here to 5.9.
Right.
So it would pull it out of our unrestricted amount.
No, I know, but for this resolution, for the that's in front of us, is the million for 2026 in this resolution also?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Oh, there it is, for total two, I'm sorry.
And so I put in there, it's, right now it's a projection because, actually our payroll accountant just messaged me, and so our IMRF liability that's due in a few days is $1 million. And the IMRF fund currently has about 300,000. So that's obviously gonna add to it. So I think we'll have one more month and then we'll have a better idea. It should be under $1 million though, but. So that's where it puts us for 2025, or the end of 2026, a projection.
I'm trying to think of a way that we could put this in lay terms. Did you try? I know, but like it's encumbered. It's encumbered money the way it's explained now.
It's not encumbered, it's, we
No,
move money.
I mean, it's not encumbered, but it's like divvied the way it has been. And we're just saying it's forgiven, it's undivvied, we're taking it back. It's.
So what we're saying is.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of, how would I explain it to a constituent? You know, if they're like, where did that magic money come from?
So it does reduce the general fund reserve overall, but because the loan is to a fund that has no mechanism currently to pay it back, it's just kind of set aside as, yes, we owe it, but we can't say we're gonna use that to cover our expenses going forward, because right now it's not available. And so, I mean, it does impact the general fund, like I said, because we have no way of getting it back. But
Well, we have a way of getting it back.
Well-
We have to increase the levies
yes,
in order to create a fund balance to be able to re.
so as of right now, we have no tool to get it, well, we have no
There isn't anything
approved budget
budgeted
get
to
it
do.
forward, correct. And so that's how it affects the general fund. How does it affect FICA and IMRF? So if we were to just forgive the loan, at the end of 2025 for IMRF, the new fund balance would be 1.1 million, which is about 2 months of reserve. And FICA, forgiving the loan, the end of 2025 would put it at about 4.5 months of reserve. So I guess to answer your question, Terry, is this isn't really catching it up, because both of these funds need to be at probably at 5.5 months of reserve, because their only source of revenue is property taxes, so they have to go from September to June relying on its fund balance. So we're just kind of digging it out of the giant hole that it's in now, but it's still not, I would still not consider these to be
And we're
stable
like at the
funds.
letter of the law, with the 2 months, we're not putting it where we want it to be fiscally responsible.
Correct. So if we want FICA and IMRF to be able to fulfill their payroll liabilities like we have in our fund balance policy, these have to be at 5 to 5.5 months. And so, like I said, doing this just removes the what they owe. It's still not making them healthy funds. And to be honest, I don't.
Making them healthier.
I mean, it's not making them in a deficit.
No, well, which is healthier.
Yeah. But, you know, and then we talked a little bit about forgiving the loan and then also giving money to make them to that level. But, you know, where we are right now with the 2026 projection, there's no money that would put the general fund then below 5 months. So it's kind of like which.
Well, or we have to, you know, if we were to make cuts in the spending and the budget for
2027.
then we might find money that we could go and put in there to supplement as reserves. So it's not that
Well, it would just be a shift of the levies, correct?
yeah, it's not that we're helpless, it's just that we've got work to do.
Yes.
John Hauser, Brian was first. Go ahead. Brian.
Oh, thanks. You know, this is exactly the situation that the state has been in for a long time in regards to pensions, and that is we just borrow from Peter to pay Paul, you know, and the reality is that whether we like it or whether we don't like it, those IMRF and FICA obligations exist, and they're going to exist in the long term. And so for us to suggest that we're going to kind of be at the bare minimum in terms of the reserve levels for those funds is not, in my opinion, the most financially responsible thing to be doing. And this is what the state has done for years and years and years and years and years and years. And we keep talking about that we've got to do something about it. Well, the way that we do something about it is to just change our approach. Now, I understand that it's a tight budget situation. And so you're gonna have to really do some dramatic things to make this a reality in terms of paying it back. We haven't talked about, we talked about, you know, absolute numbers here. We haven't talked about anything in between. I mean, if you're repaying the loan, you're repaying the loan, you're repaying the loan. Whether we do this as a sum that's going to take us automatically to 5.5 months, or whether we just do it a partial payment at this time, or whatever. I mean, we have the capacity someplace in the middle. This is not a false dichotomy type of thing. And so I think maybe we need to think a little bit about that, and we need to think about how we're going to get this money. But my own opinion is that I'm not happy with the state in terms of the pension system. I don't think I want to see this county fall into that same routine plan, and would like to see us at least make a solid payment. I know we're looking at $1 million. I understand that, but I'm not sure that's enough. So.
Well, I think this isn't what I had asked for, because the problem is if we did what I asked to happen, then our general fund reserve would be below 5 months. That wouldn't be per policy either. So I think Carrie's trying to find the happy medium, as you said, the middle of the road, to help start to bail out the issue, but not also create other issues with the general fund. And so I'm okay with this. I mean, I think it's, you know, to me, the state pension issue is a real issue that they can keep on kicking because it's pensions, right? This is payroll, so this is every 2 weeks we got to deal with this. I mean, this is not pension related, it's everyday, day-to-day payroll issue. So I guess I'm okay with this compromise because I understand what Carrie's trying to walk, that real fine line that we've created for her, and so I'm okay with this. And I do believe that come, you know, October, November, when we're voting on the budget, we collectively as 18 members then can decide what priorities are, and if we want to create more levy space to be able to make these funds healthier, then we have that choice.
And I appreciate that very much, but I'm going to say that I would prefer to err on the side of being more responsible in terms of these funds for IMRF and FICA, and understanding that, yes, that's going to dip into our reserve fund. That's the real risk. That's the real risk. So then at budget time, that forces us, because we're making a more appropriate contribution to this particular area, which is an ongoing expense. It's going to be something that's out there. It's an obligation that we have to be meeting. I would rather see us better approach that obligation and not use the excuse, well, we got to keep, you know, 5.5 months or 5 months of reserves. I would rather have that be the thing that faces us as we look at the budget, and we have to look at either cutting or we have to look at increasing the levy so that we can get back up to those reserves. So that's my position.
In concept, I'm right there with you, but I mean, that was what I had proposed to everyone originally, but she's the CFO, so I'm kind of.
Yeah. I will say, I respect it, I appreciate it, but I think this is a fundamental change to our financing approach. I think it's time we made it. It's overdue, in my humble opinion. I'm going to vote no on this on that basis.
John?
I understand both your points, and I agree with both of them. I think that it's important to do this now because this, when we get it in the budget conversations, this money sitting out there gets clouded up in the whole conversation. You know, we're trying to explain what, you know, non-spendable is, and people look at that number and say, well, why can't we spend that by, and then we have to have a whole conversation about it. If we take it off the books now and clean that up, makes that process simpler to follow and easier to understand as we go forward, number one. Number two, I don't think it's going to be as easy as simply saying, you know, right-sizing levies, because that means you have to have levies or you're going to right-size and pull money in from. We already know we're facing a shortfall for next year. We already know we have a capital expenditure shortfall for next year, and it's gonna be difficult. And if we start spending those reserves now, instead of understanding where we're at come, you know, maybe better off in June or July, our sales tax revenue is probably gonna be better than we anticipated for this year, I would assume. You know, sales taxes off of fuel sales are gonna be better than we assumed. So there's gonna be some movement, not enough to cover everything, but certainly, you know, gonna help with some of those decisions we have to make. So I'm in favor of doing this now to clean up the book, get it done, so we can focus on what we have to do going forward.
That begs the question of clean up the book. You know, how do you define clean up the book?
Well, I just mean that, I remember last year the conversation about these loans, you know, came up at every COW meeting. We were talking about the budget, what's that money for, what are we doing? And we just need to, we're not gonna get the money back into the general fund. It's simply not coming back. So why do we keep pretending like it's going to? Just move it off and let's go forward from there. That's what I mean by cleaning it up.
I appreciate the position.
Yeah.
I absolutely appreciate it. But we've got to come to grips with this situation sometime. And the fact is that this is going to continue over and over and over again in every year. We knew that this was going to be the next greatest challenge that we're going to have in terms of budgeting for 2027. We knew that that was the case. Let's start with the reality of our FICA and our IMRF funds and how we deal with that.
What is the ramification if we do fall below 5 months?
Budget policy says this committee has to create a working document on how we're going to get back up to 5 months. So basically, if we were to take Brian's approach, next month I would have on the agenda how we're going to get back to 5 months.
I'm good with that.
I'm answering this question, so.
Technically in the policy that was passed in January of 25, the special revenue funds fall into that. Is not with a defined number of months, but with if it's not able to meet its obligations. So FICA and IMRF have been in this situation. So we're already there, yes.
What does that do from an audit standpoint? We get dinged when you go through your audit?
So the financial audit does not have an impact, but one thing, and when, you know, Scott and I talked with Moody's, one of the major factors they look at for determining AAA is reserve amount and use of reserve. And for our AAA, with the current numbers they were looking at, our ratio was at the lowest it would be for AAA. So it wouldn't necessarily impact the audit is just the presentation of the numbers, not necessarily is it good or bad, right? But
There wouldn't be a finding because we were below 5 months.
Okay, that's what
because it's the board's policy.
Correct.
Okay.
But it would definitely impact our AAA rating.
That would only come into play if we were going to borrow money.
Yes. But if it's below 5 months, we probably wouldn't.
Dang. Yes, did you have?
That was a bubble buster.
I'm going to support this the way it is, but the term clean up the books is what Brian's suggesting, I think. Otherwise, we're our Mandate on the books, getting it to a point where we can reassess our situation, which is what is okay with me to do, but I wouldn't use the word clean up the books for this.
Fair point.
I'd call this a happy medium, which no one's happy with.
There's no one's happy with it, that's right.
So I guess can you, just for the committee's information, can you share, if we were to make these two healthy, how many millions of dollars additional would be needed in order to accomplish that?
Probably about 2.
Huh?
Below the cup.
I think we should know what we're talking about.
I agree,
so.
yeah, 100%.
So to get them both to 5, let's
Yep.
say?
Yep.
Times 3.
I was gonna estimate that out.
Uh, 1.8.
1.8. Okay. So that is,
Additional.
That would be, so that would actually come directly out of this number, the 47. So yes.
You get some ARPA.
We get from our TV sales tax, we find a safety things to cut, which we can.
Yeah, but you can't do this.
No, not for that, but safety things.
I mean, we could.
Anything safety.
so we're talking about 1/5 of a month
Yeah.
of reserves.
Say that again?
1/5 of a month of reserves. So a month of reserves is the number she has written here, and 1.8 is 1/5 of that. So we're saying that we would go from 5.05 down to a fifth would be.
4.86.
Yep. Thank you.
Sure.
Well,
To what?
4.86.
but you're using 2027 in the 2026 column, right? Budget, fiscal?
Correct. That's why it went up so much,
Okay.
because that's when we have the ARPA projects rolling off.
Okay, okay.
So a couple different, speaking of
So
ARPA,
should we be subtracting from the 5.74 for the 5.05?
5.05.
Okay, all right.
So, and that's why I guess I'm supporting this, because I feel like 1.8, although it's a manageable number, it's still levy space that we're gonna have to take from somewheres, which we don't have to take from anywheres, but at least the board can be cognitive of that and make a decision going forward.
Yes.
So you're,
These are the kind of specifics the board needs going into the budget. Yes.
But
so
also.
you're talking about adjusting the resolution to
Nope.
include the 1 point?
No,
No, but that's our budget work.
that's what I'm saying that we collectively would like to try and shoot for. And we don't have to take all 1.8 in next year's. We can say, hey, we're gonna be dedicated to doing, whatever. 300,000, 400,000, 500,000,
And
whatever.
that's what we
want.
did this year with these 2 funds.
Yeah,
We need to get them to at least covering their own
Correct.
expense for that year.
But to what Brian said earlier, wouldn't taking the 1.8 million now and getting to where they need to be have a bigger impact on the conversation of budget time, of what we have to do versus talking about it in the arbitrary?
it's gonna have a big impact regardless. I mean, the board is already gonna be looking at a situation where we're right at the very bottom of budget policy. So even if this board said, we are happy to take CPI, we are happy to take new growth next year, we are still in a deficit of about 4.5 million. And if you want to add the 1.8 to that, then, you're at even more. So
You're preaching the choir, but this was the same conversation we had last year and had no impact. So we had the conversation last year and it had no impact on the majority of the board.
I understand.
So,
But I can only control what I can control, and I can't control 17 other people, so.
I understand. But I'm just saying, if we did the 1.8 million now and we fell below 5 months,
Yep.
and we have to present, we have to get back above it again, isn't that gonna have more of an impact on the conversation than
And that's the impact we need to have.
that?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I mean,
That's where the crunch, the rubber meets the road.
Yeah, go ahead, Terry.
Okay, I think what we have here is that there is no will on the part of most of the board to put this burden on the backs of the taxpayers. The burden is on our backs to make the cuts and give direction to the departments on where they're going to need to adjust their spending. So now it's budget time. So now we look at the budget, we look at what's mandated that can't be moved, we look at what we realistically can impact, and this is a situation where we need to have these funds well funded. So we may look at programs that are very lovely and very nice and encouraging and great, but do the taxpayers want to fund these versus we have to fund IMRF and FICA? So those are going to be some difficult decisions. We need to look at our sources. We had an opportunity January 20th to fund the sheriff's radios out of the RTA sales tax. But we chose not to do that. 3.75 million, and we took it out of the levy. We just split it. We didn't take it all. So those were opportunities that we willfully surpassed. You know, we just passed it up, let it go. We wouldn't even vote no on a $14,000 stipend to a voluntary board. I mean, if we can't say no to $14,000, which is going to come up on levy in the future, then we've got a lot of problems. But that's our job. Our job is the tough job to say this, and that's what I've been saying. Here we are now. It's May. So be looking at, really understand this budget, understand what the options are. And so it's not to go back. You're constantly going back. How can we increase the levy? How much can we increase the levy? No, we need to look at what are the things that are in our budget that people don't even know are there. Everybody finds it. Any business person goes through and finds things like, what was that? We don't even use that anymore. Nobody even knows it's there. Those are the types of things that we would do first. And then we look at the things like how much benefit is that actually giving to the community, to the county. Technology changes, use changes, and so those are the things that we have to do. It's hard work. It's not, it's not easy. If it was easy, anybody would do it. So that's where we are.
Okay. Is that okay? Yeah.
I was just gonna say, so you were talking about it being more of a compromise, and I think that you were referring to the fact that maybe because was there some concern on your part for why staying at this level versus taking the whole 1.8 million? And why, was this more of a recommendation, or is this just kind of?
Well, then that would put us below the 5 months.
Okay, so, okay.
And again, that's based on projections, but, because the 1.8 could also be addressed in the budget with these funds and the levy. But it sounds to me like that's, you don't want to spread it out amongst the levies, the discussion.
Well, and again, I think that's.
And we don't have to get them to 5 months next year, right? We
No.
could get them to 3 months, 4 months,
Correct, you can step it up, but.
But also keeping in mind that, as the general fund reserve is reduced, and that's what we're looking for to fill the gaps, to get us to the property tax, you have less options there as well.
Correct.
Which we're experiencing that right now, as I'm gonna talk about in my report.
Yeah, so
More good news.
So I'm okay with the resolution as it is. I know Brian said he's not. Is there, how do the other board members feel?
I'm fine with it as it is.
I'm fine. I think leaving it the way it is and the opportunity to fund it over a number of, the other 1.8 or whatever it ends up being, over a number of years is a better option right now than taking it all.
Okay.
I'll be going to this.
Okay. So I mean, you're welcome to make an amendment if you'd like, but
No, it's not going to pass, so that's
Okay.
fine. I'm just going to vote against this.
okay.
And I've stated the reasons. I hope that we can, what I consider to be, excuse me, it's just my position, but what I consider to be the more responsible approach in future years. We cannot continue to do this year after year after year. We have a responsibility whether we like it or whether we don't. This is like paying insurance, paying taxes. I don't like it. I mean, nobody likes to write those checks, but it's something you have to do if you're going to be financially and fiscally responsible. We've got to address this situation. I understand the majority of this committee is not going to recommend that. That's fine, but I will stick to my guns.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll go with that. All right, so then we'll go to vote on item 7.6. Carolyn, you're first.
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Brian?
No.
Terry?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Motion carries. We're on to item 7.9. I'll entertain a motion. Terry and Larry. Terry, you pulled this one.
Yes. I have a question. This is regarding, let me pull it up here. Sure.
Our ammo. Oh.
The purchase of ammo. And this is, in my humble opinion, another easy one. Let's see, the impact, the total impact on the budget is 147,000?
Correct, that's what's currently approved in the FY26 budget.
Okay. And this is coming out of what fund?
The general fund, so this was approved back in November, so it's in our fund. So ammo's used by all of our sworn officers and our correction officers who are doing transport.
Okay, now this, I just want to pull this out. Carrie's still here, right?
No, she just left.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe somebody here can answer this question. So I know that this is already approved, it's already in the 2026 budget.
Correct.
Okay. Would we agree that ammo is a safety item?
I would,
I mean,
yes.
can we pull money from the RTA fund to pay for this? And then can we have that money go back into the levy for our budget needs in 2027? That's what I wanted to ask.
Well, I think the problem is it's already in her budget. She's just, the reason why this resolution here is because she's gonna go over our purchasing ordinance, which is the 30K.
I know, but you get what I'm saying. I'm looking for money everywhere.
I understand, but
This isn't going to reduce the amount. It's already been allotted.
it's already in her budget.
Well, if I've got $147,000 in my pocket and somebody says, here, you can use this other money, I've still got it, and then next year I can use it. So that's why I'm asking. I'd
So
like to get
yours-
an answer to this right now before we vote.
You're suggesting that it's to take from RTA funds.
Yes, and yeah.
Those are.
Hi.
those-
Sorry.
Just
think I was trying to
a little
escape.
bookkeeping question. So
Those on
this-
Transportation Committee, I
so-
think would
so
be in
this is-
opposition to that.
So this is, that's why I'm asking, and I know that. I know they don't want, obviously, January 20th, they arranged for it not to pass. So this is a safety issue, this 147,000. It's already in the 2026 budget, okay, coming out of the levy. My question is, since this is a safety item, could it be switched to the RTA funds? I'm just asking mechanically, can this happen? Whether it would pass or not, I want to know mechanically, can this happen so that we wouldn't do the $147,000 from the 2026 levy? So then that money would be freed up, pass into 2027, so that we might have just a little bit of pocket change more for next year.
I mean, I guess I would have to do some research on if ammunition would fall into.
Safety?
I mean, I don't know if that's like a wide ranging. So I will have to.
Well,
I mean, if it falls within public safety, yes, you can.
that's
board
what
can-
I'd like to know, because, I mean, again, it's a small ask, you know.
But this is an ongoing expense.
I
So
know.
would you be recommending to do that every year? To fund
Until we
the
get our money balanced, until we get into a good range with our levy and our expenditures, yes. Anything that we can put in that, and as long as that fund is healthy, you know, as long as we're not, overtaxing it, no pun intended. But that's why I really wanted to ask this, because I'm looking for money anywhere and everywhere. We all are. Everybody's looking. So that was my first thought on this. And I think it's a valid question. We should be asking these types of questions. And if we can switch this around, even if it's in this year's budget, the money passes into 2027 because we didn't use it. So That's a chunk of
Well, it just
change.
reduces the deficit that we have for 26.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, whatever. Yeah, find that 5 or 6 more times and we could be talking about $1 million, So that's why I'm asking, is there a way that we can find that out before maybe the cow?
Yes.
And then, no? And then what would have to happen? So, because we could make an amendment in the cow for the funding and then have that hashed out at the cow for them to vote at the board.
Well, but again, this resolution isn't about the funding. This resolution is simply about allowing this entity, whatever it's called, Morrison, EaglePoint Gun / TJ Morrison Sons, to be able to spend $30,000. So this resolution would not even be the correct resolution to do what you're asking to do, because that has nothing to do with the money side of it. So just
I
FYI.
probably misunderstand. I'm going under the impression that we're in a very tight or deficit situation in 2026 going into the 2027 budget and just trying to be responsible.
I'm not saying what you're saying is not valid. I'm simply pointing out that the resolution before us does not address the actual dollars that you're addressing.
Well, what would you suggest?
Well, I would suggest that if that's the intent that you would like, then bring a resolution forward modifying the budget, assuming that it's okay to do. I mean, I'm making this assumption for 2 seconds. Then you could bring a resolution forward to modify the budget and not taking it out of the sheriff's budget that was already approved and taking it out of RTA. That would be what would have to happen in order for that transfer to.
Is it okay for us to have a discussion about this right now to see whether the rest of this group thinks that this is worth it for $147,000?
Well, I'm okay with having the discussion, but I think I would rather know whether it's even possible first.
That's what I was asking. That's why I was asking technically, is this a feasible idea?
I can't answer that. That's.
Fine, curious. So.
Scott, did you?
Yeah, I want to point out, we can look into the question, and I think as Chairman Scala pointed out, to switch gears, you would do the budget amendment by separate resolution. That's not what this one's set up for. But I would really encourage this committee and the county board to have those philosophical discussions on how you use RTA sales tax during the budget discussion. So we've already developed the 2026 budget, contemplating this operational cost to come out of general fund. We're going to be going into 27 into those discussions, and very likely these kind of discussions should happen collectively, because a switch now impacts, it could benefit the general fund, but also impacts the transportation plan, because that money's already programmed in the transportation plan. So if you impact it there, then they have to go and rework what the transportation plan can do and what's already programmed. So my recommendation is continue as budgeted, and when we get into these discussions, open it up as how you want to use RTA funding. If you want to use it for more public safety related expenses, that's the time to have it as we build 2027 budget.
Okay.
I'd like to point out again, we are in a 2026 budget deficit situation. This is what I've heard. Has anybody heard anything different? Am I under some false understanding that we are in a budget deficit situation for 2026?
We have a balanced budget for 2026.
Okay, so we're not. All right.
We.
Utilizing $2 million funds.
$2 million.
That's what we have to have a balanced budget
Right, we have to have it, but utilizing $2 million what?
of the fund balance.
Yeah, so we're borrowing from our savings to balance the budget for $2 million.
That's a decision the board made to do for 2026. That's not in a vacuum. We made that decision in November to balance the budget with fund balance. I mean, that was very, very clear. That's not a surprise to anybody, or shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
Oh, I guarantee you it's a surprise to many.
Well, I don't know how it could be, because it was very, very clear in September, October, and November that that's what we were doing.
And for about 3.5 hours at the November board meeting.
and for the previous 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
It's
well,
been very,
it's,
very clear.
Anyways.
So I think we're identifying, I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
No, I mean, I understand the point Ms. Greeno is making. You know, for 2027, we're gonna have to take a look at all those available dollars and see how they can be used and where they can be used and how they're used, et cetera, et cetera. But for 2026, that ship to a certain degree is sailed already. We've already programmed these dollars. The problem is any money you take from any place is gonna have a downstream effect in 2026, because those dollars have already been programmed to be spent.
Well,
So you're robbing Peter to pay Paul in 2026.
there's few of us here, so it wastes less of our time, or not even waste time, but takes less of our time to discuss it here, and we are the Finance Committee. So we should be spreading the word out to the rest of the board. But we had an opportunity January 20th, like I said, we had a $3.75 million expenditure on the sheriff's radios that could have come out of the RTA tax fund, which would not even have dented the interest on that fund and been free and clear of it touching the levy. That was quite significant. And yet it was chosen to take it out of the levy and put us in a worse situation going into this 2026 budget, which is like beyond my comprehension as to why that was allowed to happen. So you asked me, do I think people understand this and the funding of this and the choices that they made? No, I do not. I don't think people understand the difference between a P&L and a balance sheet. So, and I don't mean to say that that's true of this committee, but overall, it's a lot of times a difficult thing that people are not dealing with in their daily work. It would be like if someone put me in front of a CNC machine and asked me the difference between a mill and a lathe, which I actually do know, but most people wouldn't. So what I'm saying is no, it is not in their daily experience. So it's up to us to use our expertise to find these things and to bring it to the attention and say, yes, here's something. 13 times, if we found something like this, we would have brought up all of the $2 million deficit that we took to balance our budget out of the fund. 13 times. And we could. I mean, we could find more than that. It wouldn't even take 13 times. And that's how you do it. That is how you do it. We're the Finance Committee. We're the people that are looking at the nuts and bolts and going into this. But the problem is that we're busy and we don't. And so we have to. And that's what our job is. So that's my point. And yeah, it's a little bit tedious. It's hard. We have to stop, redo it. But that's how you make it work. That's how you are fiscally responsible and you don't have deficits and you don't have to raise levies. So I just asked, does anybody have the appetite for working hard and doing our job?
Philosophically, I don't disagree with you. The problem is that if you're a member of the county board and you're not taking advantage of the resources available to us from Carrie's office and all the offices around us to understand this stuff, then you're doing a disservice to the county board and to the people of McHenry County. Period, end of story. If you're not taking the time to understand what you're voting on and what you're looking at, okay, that's on you. That's not on me, that's not on you, that's not on Carolyn or Mike.
Well,
We go through all this and we explain all that, and board members have to take the time to educate themselves on this stuff. That's what they got elected for, that's what they elected to do. That's number one. Number two is that we sat and had this debate on 2026, including, I think, the radios, but not, I forget all the timing of all that.
Yeah.
It was all debated then, capital budget was all debated then, and all those decisions were made at that point in time. And it was for everybody to understand, and for everybody to vote on. So, you know, going back and we're trying to relitigate December and January, at this point doesn't make a lot of sense. What we have to do is focus on what we can do going in 2027 going forward and laying the groundwork for those type of activities, like we did with forgiving the loan, and like what you're talking about here, what can we use RTA dollars more for, and what is the impact to transportation if we do those things? Those are all conversations we have to get in a lot of detail on. You know, I guess probably starting next month, in June, or July.
Soon enough.
You know, getting into all that. But these dollars are part of the budget for 2026, and we cannot have it not have ammo while we have this conversation.
Okay, I'm just gonna say, this is not on the resolution. This is, I mean, it's not that, this is not a good discussion topic, but the resolution has nothing to do with what the hell we're talking about. So if we could draw back to the resolution, that would be fabulous. Brian?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Okay. Does anyone have any other questions regarding the resolution itself? Okay, if not, we'll go to vote. Larry, you're up first.
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Carolyn? And myself, yes, motion carries. We're on to item 710. I'll entertain a motion. Larry makes that motion, and John seconds the motion. Terry, hold this.
Oh. Try to get that. So this was one that I just, this was the Department of Health. And I wanted to understand, is this something that was budgeted for? Is this,
So this is in addition to a grant we already have?
okay, so this is grant money.
This is grant money,
So
yes.
this is not coming out of levy money.
No,
Okay,
this is an additional award that the state gave us, and we're offsetting general fund personnel for the most part and some additional contractual costs.
thank you. Okay, didn't catch the grant.
Oh, I'm
sorry. Thank you.
I believe it's in there, but I better double check.
No, it says-
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Terry, do you have any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Other questions by members?
Oh, no, you're good.
Okay, all right, then we'll go to vote. Brian, you're up first.
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And myself, yes, motion carries. Okay, we're back to item 7.4. I'll entertain a motion to approve item 7.4. Larry makes the motion. I'll second the motion. Pam, would you like to come up and join us? I know you would ask me to.
I'm gonna sit back here.
You're gonna sit back there, okay. Brian, you had pulled this one initially, so I'll let you go first if you'd like.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I do have several comments. I do have a great deal of appreciation for the intent of the resolution. I think that it is a noble effort to try to bring greater equity to the county board members in terms of total compensation package. I think that's a noble intent, equity in terms of the combination of the premium plus the insurance benefits. I also understand the statutory requirements for passage of changes to that package prior to election. So I understand that in terms of the current time and discussion. I appreciate that. I also appreciate the intent to reduce the total cost of county board member compensation for budgeting purposes. So we're trying to look at, see how we can control those costs. And as we have just discussed, I think that's most appropriate. We all have to look at those options available to us. That is our responsibility, as has been tediously pointed out. However, I do think that there's some problems with this. First off, I just think the timing of the proposal is not good. We are certainly meeting the statutory requirements, but this should have been discussed a year ago, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. The timing right now is inappropriate. I think the approach to trying to derive equity adjustment is valid and is noble, but I truly believe that that which is before us compounds that issue, because we're saying X number of board members are going to be at this rate and other members are not going to be at that rate, and that just, I think at this stage of the game compounds that inequity. I'm not supportive of that in any way, shape, or form. And I also think that in order to properly compensate all county personnel, and I'm not talking just about the county board, but I'm talking about all personnel across the board, to keep quality public servants is very, very important. We have to properly compensate everyone. We have to give them a compensation package, which is going to, again, attract and to maintain a good quality employee staff. I don't think by reneging or backstepping in terms of insurance packages is necessarily the right way to do that. It's certainly worthy of the conversation of the board at some time. Again, I think the timing is not the best for this now. I just believe that it needs further study. I think it needs to be additional proposal. For example, I don't know that we have to have absolutely a sliding scale as revolves around solely one or the other, you know, where we go, okay, everybody is going to have an increase of $11,000 here, and that's not going to go over well. That's what, 52% increase from 21,000 to 11,000. Granted, you're trying to reduce the benefits package, but at the same time, if you really want to bring everybody into equity, you take a look at the total package on an individual basis and you bring equity in that regard. People have X amount of money to spend on health insurance costs. Anything above that's going to be at their own expense. You know, if you want to bring equity across the board to everybody, because there are those of us who don't receive anything for our service, don't receive anything in terms of benefits, and that's a different scenario than other people. And so it's just, there's a lack of equity across the board. And so if we're going to do this, we need to look at a further study, and we need to look at a variety of proposals. I think this is too black and white. I don't think that that's the way to do it, and I think the timing is not good at all. So I cannot support this. I won't support this.
So I brought this forward because, and Pam can speak, in Joe's committee, they have discussed this for
At least 3 times in the past year.
Yeah, and I've been disappointed that that committee never could make a decision and bring something out. And so my frustration has grown not only from a budgetary standpoint, but for the same reason you brought up about the equity standpoint. You know, at yesterday's committee, I was still at a trade show, so I wasn't able to be in attendance physically, but I was on, I called in basically. And I think, you know, 2 things that I would probably modify to this resolution based on the discussion yesterday was having this resolution take effect all in 2028 so that it's all even across the board. Which I'd be happy to amend that. And then the second thing was, similar to what you had just brought up, there was a concern by board members that going from 21 to 32 would be perceived by the public as a huge raise for the members. And so I would be more than happy to amend this back to the 21 and not take away that perception. You know, the reason how the 32 came up, I said this yesterday at the meeting, was I simply took, since 21 came about, I just literally took the CPI numbers and ran a spreadsheet and said, what would it be in today's dollars? So there is no magic to the 32. I'm not married to the 32. That's what I came up with, but.
Please understand, I support the intent. I think the intent is good. I'm pleased to hear that you are open to amendments or efforts. Is the timing the best? And does this truly give us enough time to look at all of the options or the proposals that should be studied and considered? So that's my big concern right now. That's the biggest concern I have.
I feel like their committee has done all that. And if you listen to their committee, they've talked about all of that. I mean, I mean, you got members of the committee on here, so I mean, I don't.
And I'll just add in too, and I apologize to my yesterday committee members, because what I should have done, and I called Michael after the meeting, is exactly what he's just done. This really should be minimally backed up to 2028, which is also a recommendation that came from administration, from County Administrator Hartman. I think that probably gives everybody who's running now and anybody who wants to run again in 2 years knowledge of exactly what it is. I agree with Ms. Greeno when she's talking about we need to look at every single aspect for budgetary purposes. And although if we back it to 2028, it would not come into play right away, it still shows the intent that we're looking at every available line item in which to take as much money and provide it into personnel and services as we possibly can. And I agree, I was the only yes vote yesterday, and I agree with everybody that the 32,000 increase will be difficult to explain to voters. I guess maybe I give them a little bit more credit and their ability to understand things, but we can leave it at 21,000. I mean, we are at a point where money is tight. And so I would I think that that's the conversation. I think everybody is supportive of the intent. And we ran a little bit of numbers, and I don't want to go into a lot of detail because nobody has seen them. But when this program was started, going back to our 1994 numbers and looking at them today, the county's portion of insurance costs has increased 611%. I mean, I think that that's something that we as members need to look at, and I'll state it again and you have your conversation. But if we are serious about, talking budget and moving forward, I think it's real hard for us to look at our constituents and say, we're looking at other funding sources, we're looking at other cuts, and yet we're going to leave our own, benefits in place. And, $300,000+, which will increase again going forward. Insurance costs go up over 20% every year annually. That's 6 people, that's 6 police cars. That's more than enough radios that would come out of an RTA potentially. I mean, it's something, and we have to stop kicking that can down the road. I think we need to make a decision, and if the committee is in time, we certainly need to discuss that during our budget and pass a resolution that indicates what our intent is. But that will push it back again, because if it's going to go into, I don't know, no, I'm wrong, Scott. If we did it in 2028, we have enough time to discuss this further, don't we?
No, because we can't, because the people
You
that are
can't change the
getting
benefits, that's it. So that's why I think it's important to
Well,
and
do it now.
say that one more time. I want to make sure I understand the schedule.
What do you mean by the schedule?
2028.
You know what, Scott, you do it better.
Well, so the resolution is drawn up because before 6 months prior to an elected officer taking position, their compensation has to be set. So I can't, if you're getting elected at the November election and take office on November or December 4th or 7th, you have to have it done 6 months prior. So I can't go in, once that is set, your 4 years compensation is set. I can't change that. So if I can change it, if I do it beforehand, I can say, hey, for 2 years, you're gonna have this, and for the last 2 years, you're gonna have this, or whatever we want, but I have to set that up front.
So you're saying that if we waited then, and I understand exactly what you're saying, if we waited then, because you can't change compensation in midpoint.
You can increase it, but you can't decrease it.
You can't diminish.
Right, and this would be a decrease.
Oh, so it's not. And
I mean, the state legislature increases their pay every freaking
year.
year.
So it was either way. No,
No,
it's
you
only
can
diminish.
increase.
You cannot diminish a person's compensation in midterm.
And that covers the whole board by putting it to 2028.
Right,
Yes,
you have to do it, we have
Now,
to do
I
it
know, we have to do it
180
now.
days. And I'm gonna go away and stop talking, but that again was the reason I came today, is to say, if we really are serious about looking forward and doing, but we have to do this now.
Well, stick around because of the conversation. So when you said you came up with the 32,000 because you kind of applied CPI
Mm-hmm,
since 2012?
yeah.
Okay. And in your discussions, because all of you were on admin, we kind of have this thing where this is where we had the same thing when we had our elected officials coming in with their increase. We haven't been, the circuit clerk hadn't been done in 4 election cycles and all of that. Was there any discussion, and not to build in cost increases, but because we have such a big increase, is there any thought of like, okay, it can increase like 1% every term or something, every 4 years or something like that, so that if this comes up in 10 years from the 2028, I mean, I'm fine in keeping it 21. I don't really care either way, honestly, but we get to this point where we've left it for so long, then we're like, okay, now what do we do? And because there was issues with how much we ended up increasing our constitutional officers' amounts,
Right.
but it was because it hadn't been done. Well, here we're talking 2012.
There was no cost of living built into their salaries.
Right, and again, I don't care if we kept it at 20, like you said, if we kept it at 21, that's fine, and then just got rid of the insurance, that's fine too. But I'm just saying that if there was discussion, the idea was, no, we don't want to do that because we don't want the appearance of.
There was no discussion of any, ongoing increase or cost of living increase.
It kind of creates that issue every 10 years, but I guess we deal with it.
But again, if you want to increase it, you can pass a resolution, whatever the heck you want to do that.
Right.
Okay, and that's, I
increasing it.
did not know until
So,
now.
yeah,
I thought
so
it was
you
both
could-
ways, so you could do it either way. Okay, well then I don't think that's necessary. I think that's.
But
okay.
it does create inequity in the body.
No, not if you're increasing, because everyone gets the same increase.
No, but are you talking about us doing it in 2028 and the inequity for the people who are running, they would have a benefit for 2 years and not again in the last 2 years. But again, they know that, right? And again, the intent was never to take away the access to the insurance. It was just to limit the county share of covering that,
Right.
which is the inequity, because some people obviously obtain more of that county share than others, depending upon the coverage that they ask for. So
Well,
that was that, but they would know that. I mean, those people who are now running would understand that they had a gift for 2 years.
Well, and Ms. Brino has brought up numerous times that these boards that we appoint people to should be somewhat voluntary. And so this is, I don't know that this is any much different. I mean, we actually are getting compensated versus strictly volunteer, but.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never said that. I've never said that the boards that people get appointed to should be voluntary.
Yes, you did when we did the.
That was the whole conversation you brought up?
No, I said that was a voluntary board by definition,
Oh, okay.
that they volunteered to serve on
Correct.
that board.
Right.
I didn't say that the board should be voluntary. You said that I said that the board should be
It's
voluntary.
a parsing of words.
Sorry.
So, yes, no, well, words mean things, Mike,
No, they
Okay.
do.
so don't put
Not
words in
arguing
my
that.
mouth. But I do have a comment, if it's okay.
Well, Brian still has,
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I would support this if there's a resolution that says it's $21,000 and the benefits portion would be removed. They're still eligible to participate in the program at their own cost. I would be all over that.
and then have it be all for have it start all in 2028.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and I'm happy with making those amendments.
I would absolutely support that.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so thank you. So there's talk about, the inequity right now with people who take advantage of benefits who don't versus. So in any business, there are people who are employees are offered a benefit package. Some employees take that benefit package, some employees don't. So even if you have people that are on the same pay scales, they would in effect have different compensations because they chose to take the benefits package. Now, if you really want to drill down in that, and you were looking at it from, let's say, a central planning Marxist perspective, you would say, is that fair? Should they not be compensated the same? Or if you were looking at it from a free market perspective, perhaps that family already has access to those resources, and so they don't need to take advantage of it. It's a free will choice in the marketplace, such as it is in this board. But if you really want to look at the future, and let's just say that we withdraw even today and say, okay, no more benefits, and that you have access to take the benefits and pay for them on your own. When a person takes a benefit, generally they can take that as a pre-tax payment and so pay for their healthcare benefits pre-tax. Well, that's the way any good accountant would do that for an employee. And so that lowers their taxable income. It also lowers the taxable payroll for the employer. Therefore, they're getting more compensation because they don't have to pay tax on that money. So there, it puts it right again into an equitable situation. Again, if you're looking at it from a central planning Marxist position. So this gets very hard to control. It takes a lot of study, and having this at literally the committee meeting of the month, the week before the committee of the whole, 2 weeks before the board meeting, would certainly not be adequate time to look at this. And this position, even though we are compensated for it, which I'm sure is appreciated by many, some of us did run not knowing that we were compensated. It is an act of service. In effect, you couldn't pay someone to do this job. They do it out of an act of service to the community. So it does take time to look at it. It's not something that should be looked at from a market value, because you cannot look at this. Many of the board members put in many more hours than other board members because of the committees that they serve on or the commissions that they liaise with. And so, you know, there's a lot of things that are involved. And I'm not sure how you make that fully equitable, but this, at this time, as Brian stated, is not enough time to look at it. We have tabled it because it was not an issue that the board felt compelled to take up. And I don't think that there's an appetite for that at this time. And someone had mentioned that in 2030, there's redistricting. It would be a great time to go into that time frame and just do it all at once. It would impact everybody. They might even change the structure of the board with redistricting in 2030. And so it could be looked at then. Of course, that's down the road. I can't speak for all of the time or the people that would be on the board. But at least for this situation, I would be a no, because I don't see any validity to the conversation.
You don't see the validity in trying to save money?
I don't think that there's necessarily, I have nothing to base that on. This, I've worked payroll. I don't have enough evidence here to know that there's any savings in this. Because again, I'm just saying, again, anything that's paid as a benefit is not taxable income.
But it's an expense to the county.
It's an expense to the county, but the payroll that is being used to pay for the benefits is not taxable income. That lowers the payroll burden. So there's more to it.
I
know.
I don't know how else to.
No, I've run payroll. I'm telling you what I know. So
I'm strictly speaking from a expense to the county when it comes to insurance. If the county board is allowed to purchase insurance, but their total compensation is at $21,000, that is a defined number. Anything over and beyond $21,000 is a savings to the county, whether it's through insurance or whether it's through salary or whether it's through any other benefit.
Okay, so what you're saying is a county board member who's purchasing additional insurance is not paying for that out of their own pay?
They're not paying for the 80%.
They're paying for whatever that expense is based on what they are looking for.
And that's pre-tax income.
That's a personal expense, it's not a county expense.
That's not a county expense.
The county still pays.
No, that's pre-tax income, so there's no payroll burden on those benefit payments.
But I'm not talking about payroll burden, I'm talking about total expense to the county.
That's total expense to the county, then the county is not paying payroll tax on that.
So they're saving even more at that point.
No, can I?
Now, right now, and that's not taken into consideration.
No, so can I ask a question here just for clarification?
Uh-huh.
I understand what you're saying, that like if you pay money, the benefit you get from the insurance doesn't hit the payroll end of it. But the county picks up 80% of the cost of providing that insurance, regardless of what plan you get. So that 80% in any, let me see if I got it.
Any one of these scenarios.
Any one of these scenarios is going to cost the county money. You guys must have been talking about this a little bit. I mean, if you look at the regular PPO, let's say you have a member plus children, the employer share per payroll is $800. The employee is paying $200, but it costs the county $800 to actually provide that insurance. So if we're talking about saving dollars, it doesn't matter that this doesn't hit the payroll. It's still $800 a pay period for one employee who happens to get the member plus children plan. So and you guys had to have been talking about this in the last 3 meetings you had in admin.
Well, it's not 3 meetings, it's been over.
Well, I mean, not the last 3 meetings. Pam said we talked about it in admin at least 3 times
Yes.
over the past year.
Yep.
And so this is not a last minute discussion by any stretch, and there is a cost to the employer. That's actually pretty substantial, and it goes up every year.
Yeah, it's a huge cost savings. I mean, you're talking about 14,000. This is hundreds of thousands.
300.
Huh?
300.
Yeah, well,
Well, you're talking about 20,600 for family plan per person?
They pay 20% of the pay cost that the county picks up 80%. You name it. We have all these different plans.
No, I want the highest.
Okay, the highest is gonna be, it's gonna be your low deductible, not your HSA, your low deductible family with everybody on there. That's a $1,200 a pay period for that employee.
Okay.
how many county board members currently have insurance?
Wait, excuse me, wait a minute, just a second. So for what is offered?
Is it
for
14?
Family plan. So the county is paying $1,200 per pay period for a family plan?
That's the rate sheets that we have right now.
Okay, thank you. You know how good I am with these.
Yeah, so this is what Carolyn was referencing. So this is a per pay period. So
Okay.
per pay period, it costs the county $801.
Okay, that's what I was looking at.
And this is $200 to the employee.
But this is the one that she's talking about.
This is family.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the highest cost to the county
Okay,
is a family on the PPO plan.
okay. So,
You can have
okay. And so we must have, 18 people on the family plan, right?
No.
No, I know.
We have 14 out of the 18 are taking some insurance, is that correct? So 14 out of the 18 are taking some insurance, and just, if you don't know, that's fine. But in total, what is the county picking up for those 14 people?
Well, for a person on a family plan, that would be $29,136. Okay. And then, sorry, but on their portion, on that family plan, what is their portion?
Does it matter if it's
Does it
$600 or $800? It's a savings.
No, I'm just trying to get
I'm
to,
just thinking out loud.
I know, I'm not disagreeing with Larry, but.
I guess we're going through.
Scott has it here, it's $323,000.
Yeah, on the top chart where it says county board cost analysis, the benefits aggregate, fiscal year 2026, that's the current total benefit cost for county board members, health insurance, dental, that the county's paying today.
Okay, so this would be a savings of $323,000.
Where are you getting 23?
That's what we're doing now. You said it's gonna go up minimum
It's
by 20%.
gonna go up, but, and I understand this wouldn't take effect till 2028.
We give the offset of the increased salary.
The employee.
No, we're going back to, we're keeping it at 21.
Well,
Yes.
yes, it's not a net savings to the taxpayer, I'm not voting.
Pays on the lower.
It is.
It is, I get now, the way it was written, not so much.
Okay. It would still would have been, but not as much.
It sort of trying to make a balance there.
I get it, but I heard what the committee said yesterday, and I'm more than happy to modify to
Just FICA.
meet those,
That's really
meet what the committee was looking for.
No.
You've been very quiet. Do you have any thoughts?
Explain it.
I just don't understand why she doesn't understand it's the savings.
Oh, I don't.
No offense.
That's what
If we're hung up between personal savings, county savings.
I would support this wholeheartedly if we get down to the basic.
Yeah, so if we make these, I wrote down what I would make as modifications.
If you can do that at the committee of the whole discussion and get us to the
No, I would do it now.
board meeting, okay,
Yeah, I would do that now.
all right.
All right, so Tara, is it okay if I make a motion? Go.
You say 10, 20. You say 10, 20 or 10.
I said, well, he was open. There you go.
It's 550.
I know. Well, just a site visit.
So anybody in the family can do an extra
When this
20,000.
meeting would be over.
Okay.
That's all. Nothing to say.
Oh,
Okay.
Nothing to say.
Nothing.
So I would like to make a motion to modify the resolution that is before us in the now therefore be resolved. Changing the third line down where it starts with options and remove the word 9. And then after county board members' terms, that will begin on December 4th, 2028. So I would be removing the other wording that is there.
Do you want
I'm so sorry, could you?
to repeat that again?
Yes, please, yeah, not a problem. So in the now therefore be resolved.
There we go, okay.
On the third line down that starts with the word options, removing the word 9. And so it would say options for the county board member terms that begin on and then December 4th, 2028.
Okay.
Okay, so that would it would make it everyone starting on December 4th, 2028. And then in the letter A, compensation, that would change to be fiscal year 2029. And the amount would be $21,000. Those are the modifications that I'm making a motion to amend. Does anyone have any, well, first let's get a second.
Second, I'll keep.
I have a concern with that because we're only referencing those terms beginning on December 4th, 2028. That's only half the board, so we need to write this so it covers everybody. You can't specify which terms begin. We'll specify a date to start, but not which.
Okay, so we should just remove the terms word, because then there wouldn't be terms, it would just be this is what the compensation would be.
Starting December 4th, 2020.
Correct, yes. I agree with you, thank you.
And then you have to, well, you would take out the fringe benefit.
No.
They could, no, because they
No.
would have the option to
Yep,
purchase, got
correct.
it.
Yep,
There
it
you
would
go.
still all be the same.
And then, all right, I'll second.
Okay, so Carolyn seconds that. Is there any discussion on that?
If members
Sure.
believe, I'm sorry.
You're trying to make it to an election, yet if we're doing it, why can't we go back to the 27th date then, if we're not worried about election dates?
What do you mean? Well, it's because it's for the 28 budget, not for the 27 budget.
So it'll be the 2028, there's elections, right? But we're still sort of splitting the board?
No,
Doing it this way,
This
the
way,
board stays.
Yeah, the board stays all the
even and
same.
fair, equitable
Oh,
across
okay.
all of them. That was the only point of moving it back 2
Okay.
years. But then we adjusted.
Yeah, go
So I
ahead.
have two things that came up yesterday that I'm not sure you can. One is, if somebody takes the benefit, but if the benefit costs more than their salary, what is that process gonna look like? I know we have time. And/or,
We have 2 years to
Do-
figure it out.
do they not have compensation then?
Well, that is the compensation.
Compensation is
That is the
reduction in the
compensation.
cost of the insurance.
No, the insurance is 30,000, their salary's 21. They're gonna owe the county 9.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then on their W-2, they would, it's gonna come in that, whatever that number box is.
Right.
that-
Okay,
Yeah,
as long as we know how that's gonna work, okay. Perfect.
And just to clarify, the county also is gonna pay percentage on the payroll tax, that as it is. It's 7.9, we're actually paying on that compensation for the healthcare. So it's an additional expense.
no, it's additional savings.
Yeah,
No,
it's a better
it
way to
would
say
be
it.
done as a pre-tax benefit. And this would not be,
I don't, we're gonna stop.
So, on the question of payroll burden, and I know you have a modification, but it was, what is the county's payroll burden? At the highest insurance level, which is family, dental, and then the regular PPO health insurance, the county board member's share is roughly $8,230. That's what they pay. The county
Right.
pays the remainder of that, which means that there is an income then of $12,770 roughly.
Right, that you would pay taxes
Yeah,
on.
and then we pay taxes on that, which roughly is a little over $950 that the county pays on top of that
Right.
because of that $12,000.
Correct, and what I'm saying is if someone were to use a benefit that took up all $21,000
Pre-tax.
pre-tax, they wouldn't have, that wouldn't be less of a burden on the county by that 900 and whatever.
that's right,
Yes, so it's actually an additional savings.
that's right.
That would help out carry our,
IMRF, FICA.
Exactly.
Anyhow.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion and a second on the modifications that I made. Is there any other discussion on those? Okay, all those in favor of the modifications say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
Okay. All right, so we have a modified resolution now. Is there any other discussion on the modified resolution?
yes.
Yes, go ahead.
I still would hold that this coming up at this time, that there are factors that a lot of numbers, a lot of discussion, and came up yesterday and needs a lot more explanation, as you can see right down here in the resolution. There we go. So the timing of it is poor, and I wouldn't want anything affected regarding the compensation for the county board going into an election year. Why would we be doing this now? We can address it and really go into it. And if this was something that was sincere and wanted to be done in a proper manner, it would have come up in January and February, and we would have been working on it.
I wish it would have. I wish it would have come out of that committee. I wish it would have come here. I wish it would have come here a year ago when you guys first started working on it. And I'm completely disappointed in the committee that didn't bring it forward. So that's my opinion, but you're entitled to yours, so.
Respectfully, Mike, I've never had anything that you didn't want to come forward, not come forward.
I personally talked with Mr. Gottemoller about getting something out of his committee. And it's actually Mr. Gottemoller that has made motions over and over to postpone resolutions, which is very disappointing to me. So I'm not blaming Joe, I'm just telling you that's the facts. All right, we'll go to vote on the modified resolution of 7.4. John, you're first up.
Yes.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Terry?
No,
And myself, yes, motion carries. Okay, we are to old business, 9.1, with an ordinance adopting a fee schedule for Department of Planning and Development. I'll entertain a motion to approve the ordinance. Larry and Carolyn seconds. Is there any concerns or questions? Larry, you want to address anything on this?
Sure. Adam did a great job, him and his team, with the analysis of this. I brought up about that we should be proactive on getting this out to the public because before people holler once it passes. And I think part of that should be the savings from the part that the PED department was subsidized. From the general fund, I think, Adam, come on up, Adam. I mean, you're a star here on this one.
All right.
I think your name should be in italics, highlighted.
And I think your personal cell phone number should be everyone can call and congratulate you.
If anybody, you know, if you want to look at the PED meeting, I thought the analysis was great, the explanation. We haven't had any fund increase there, or I mean fee increase there since 2015, I believe is what it was. The overall plan that, the schedule that Adam, that we actually voted on would decrease the general fund subsidy to the PED department from like 46 to 16%. And Adam, did you, over a 5-year period though, right? Or
So, yeah, there's a big asterisk with that, right? I mean, we don't know who's coming in, we don't know the magnitude and size, scale, and et cetera of all the projects. We simply looked at several different models. And those, we put together 6 different models. So that period of time is about a 1.5 year projection. So,
okay.
And then from there, we anticipate the same type of growth. So over the last couple of years, last 5 years, our revenue trends and expenditure trends have been a little different. So expenditure has been 4.59%, while our revenue trends have been 9.19. So we're growing in the right direction and at better rates and with the one you want. It's just that those are 4.59% of 1.5 million and 9.19 of 800,000. So the numbers, we're trying to catch that bottom number up so that we can decrease that subsidy. So that 16% is accurate. That's where we ended up landing, 16.5 compared to 45.8% subsidy. We would love to hit that.
And it's easy to say it should be covering its own on that whole deal. But the different models, Adam showed it perfectly clear, in my opinion. And it got to the point if we were gonna just completely cover the expenses of PED with fees, that we'd be discouraging a lot of people to come in and actually get a permit. They'd be doing it around the back corner and because it would just, I know some of the smaller remodeling things, they just never come and get a permit. They just do it. So there had to be a balance of growing the fees to help with the PD department without discouraging people to come in and get permits. So I thought Adam did a great job. We found a balance. Carolyn, do you have anything you want to add, or?
We had that.
The one thing that you brought up about adding that other level, go ahead.
Yeah, so then we did talk about one thing and I don't know if you've had a chance, I mean, it's only been a few days or, maybe having it in time for the cow would be, under residential, we stop at 4,000 square feet. And I think Adam, you were talking a little bit about how out of the total, a fair number, not all of them, but a fair number are actually much higher in square footage, starting around 15,000 and up. And to me, it just seemed like somebody in a 4,000 square foot home having that level fee is a much bigger burden than somebody in a 15 or 22,000 square foot home having the same fee. Does that make sense to have, when you get up to that larger home? It's not gonna bump it up by much, but, just out of fairness, at some point, in a much bigger home, the fee is the same as somebody in a much smaller home. So did that make sense? And you were gonna take time to look at it?
Yeah.
And see,
Well,
I'm open to.
Yeah, and also as Adam, and maybe you made the point of some of these larger homes, you're gonna have the roof on and the guy's gonna wanna be starting electric in the basement while they're still doing some inside framing upstairs. So there could be possibility of partial inspections, et cetera. So a little higher fee on those bigger ones might be appropriate.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, nothing really to add on to that except for, we're exploring that concept of adding a 4th tier to the new single-family residential bracket. In that bracket, we're not talking about a lot of houses, but we are talking about significant ones. There were 7 in total in that 4,000 and above square foot category. And it was 3 or 4 that were under 10,000 or under 12,000. The rest of them were 16,000 and 18,000 square feet, just really giant houses. And so that was what drew that conversation of, you know, the disparity between that, within that range, that top range, maybe meriting something that would be kind of our hyperscale houses that we do see.
Would you consider all just like, you know, over 4,000, it's 5,000 plus so much per additional 1,000 square feet?
That'd be another way to capture it.
That way, if it's 10,000 or 50, you know what I'm saying?
I think
Well,
we did have
I
that
don't think
conversation a
It
little bit
gets to
about.
looking at the scale of it though, because it's, you know, you got a 20 by 20 family room that costs the same to inspect that as a 40 by 40 family room.
No, I mean for new construction,
Yeah.
for new residents, I
But
was just saying.
new construction, sometimes it's just quantity, not really more things to inspect. I mean, yeah, you gotta walk around a little bit bigger building, but it adds a lot to the square footage, but not really a whole lot to the inspection of it.
Okay.
And yeah, we actually did discuss that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did.
So-
We did talk about
I mean, it's Adam's looking into this. Actually, this isn't sealed either way, and then that's certainly an option that we could check into.
that.
He's
Right.
looking at adding a tier, is that what you're saying?
That was the way we kind of left it because we had the discussion about that added square footage and this seemed more simple. We're not talking about a lot of homes.
Didn't want to put that in here right now is.
Because we're waiting to find out what that would look like. Where's the cutoff gonna be? What would the amount be? And we only talked about this 2 days, it was only 2 days
2
ago.
days ago, yeah.
So should this just be postponed for a little while?
No, I think it's one.
We can amend this anytime, even after this meeting, this month's meeting.
I would even say, like, if we get a good answer, you know, it might be on your desk with that line.
I was going to point out, I think, Carolyn, as you pointed out yesterday, or excuse me, on Tuesday, this is waiting on 30-day review. So it's not going to be adopted this meeting, so there's still time to look at it, and you have another month. If something comes up, you can incorporate it at that time.
Right. So that everyone will have another look at it.
I'll add to that concept of 30-day review. Part of the other discussion point on this topic was it is just one item, and we're talking maybe 4 permits. So the rest of it has such good merit in terms of catching up that I think it would be, we would really push for it to kind of go forward, and even carrying that analysis going out 6 months or a year specific to this category. Also, so we don't have a 10-year lag again, part of the proposal is that we come back and reevaluate, you know, our rates that go into this model behind the scenes that feed maybe every 2 years. So it's not such a big comprehensive update.
So, bottom line is I'm very comfortable with it. I thought Adam did a great job with it, analysis of it.
Great. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll go to vote on that, and let's see who's up.
Does the
Carol.
motion include the plaque? Recognizing Adam? I'm sorry.
You need to.
Thank you,
See how
guys.
this, how,
Sure.
All right, Carolyn, you're up first.
yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Motion carries. What are we on? We're on reports. Carrie?
Okay, just a couple of things. First off, I'll start with good news, since it's been kind of rough. It's been, so we are just finishing up our audit and our financial report, and I'm so excited to report that we have no findings. It's
Order
been
another
about 9 years since the county has had no findings, but just about 3 since. I really want to give most of the credit to my accounting manager, Jody Venisi, because she's really the primary driver of you know, improving the process and, you know, us just learning as well. But I think it's really important. It's, you know, it's nice to have no audit findings, but kind of what does that mean and why it's such a process, it takes so many years, is, you know, doing quarterly fund reviews, cleaning things up. That's how you find things too, right? When we start talking about budget, Or, you know, working with the departments and improving their grant reporting, you know, so just when we get to the audit, it's not so much cleanup, it's just really doing the audit work papers and, you know, working with the county treasurer, she's been awesome with automating their processes, helping us out a lot with the cash side. So it's really been a good team effort, but I know I'm excited. So John Rader will be here next month to present. So if you guys have questions, you know, you can always reach out to him. The financial report is currently in final review by one of the partners in Oak Brook. So we are scheduled, I mean, we're pretty much done with our side. So as soon as we get the go-ahead from them, it's around May 22nd is our goal. Then I will forward it to you guys. You can take a look at it.
We won't have much to read now.
Well,
We have no debt, we don't have any findings, I mean,
it's still 250 pages.
Ah, well.
251.
True. So the next step to finish out fiscal year 25 is to do the single audit, which if you guys remember is the audit of the federal awards. So Baker Tilly will be on site the last week of June to finish that up. But, you know, really we find a lot of issues during the audit. I think the single audit will go well because we've, like I said, we've cleaned up a lot of the grant process and that's helped a lot. So,
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. So next, Donna and I met with Scott and Chairman Bueller on Monday to talk about the Magnum bank account, which I know I brought up to you guys last month. And the chairman asked if I would talk a little bit about it at the committee of the whole, because one thing I'm trying to do a little better this year is talk about issues or things we're seeing more in real time. So you guys, instead of just talking about it in September or whatever. So circling back to the earlier discussion with FICA and IMRF. So if you recall, Magnum is the general fund bank account. So the total fund of the general fund would be the bank account for checking, let's say, and then investments, so the savings. So Magnum, which we projected would not have enough money to meet the general fund obligations, would happen in about April, but I've been working with Donna and her investment broker to make sure that we're kind of anticipating the needs of the general fund, but at the same time having money from investments very liquid, but leaving it on the investment side as long as possible, because we're still getting 4%, you know, sitting even in the treasury side of the investments. So we got the call from the bankers 2 weeks ago, and Magnum was down to 1.6 million. So that was kind of the, okay, time to move the money, because, you know, we have payroll coming up, and just remember for reference, that's probably about 3 days of operations for the general fund, so really low. And again, I want to tell you this and tell the board that, so not to be like, right, but you know, it kind of sets up the path we're on, right? So last year we ran out of money in Magnum and had to transfer in May. And at that point, the investment was 32 million. You know, this year we ran out in April and the investment account is to 24 million. You know, so what path are we on as we continue to spend down this fund? You know, not only how does that impact the general fund operations, but then at the same time we have FICA and IMRF if that's not able to meet its obligations. So another thing we wanted to talk about a little is, so right now we have about 3 million coming from investments to help Magnum cover the obligations. And so I know I don't need to explain this to you guys, but probably for the full board, if you think of it as like your personal checking account, your personal savings account, right? And the savings account is used to buy a house or fix your roof or something, but not necessarily to pay your electric bill or your mortgage. And so we have to be really careful. You know, we're getting to that area now where we're using our savings account to pay our mortgage, but we have really no mechanism to start building our savings account back up. So there's that, the cash flow side, but then, so in total, we think we're gonna pull about 3 million from investments to cover the Magnum shortfall, and it probably won't go back to investments. And so I asked the investment broker, you know, what is the cost of that, right? And I know there's a lot of scenarios and what ifs and markets and, yeah.
So sorry to interrupt, but did Donna receive any early payments that she could release that would cover that? Or is she planning?
For property tax?
Yeah.
You know, Donna and her staff do a really great job of distributions
Yeah.
once they go out. So the tax bills just went out, I think yesterday.
Right, but I'm just saying,
As soon as they get it, yeah, because we're not the only taxing district that is like.
No, right, but I'm just wondering, like, did you guys kind of factor that in based
Yes.
on, okay, all right,
Kind of the goal and the projections is through the end of May.
okay.
Because we'll have some stuff coming in and then, so we'll have one more payroll to get through. But again, talking about, you know, the general fund in total, so the $3 million that's coming out of the investment account, the average duration for general fund investments is 2.5 years. So if you do that same kind of strategy and the average rate of return, over 5 years, that $3 million is $900,000 less in investment income. So, you know, a lot of the projections where we talk about the deficit in 26, 27, 28, you know, make some pretty, maybe too generous projections for investment income. But we have to keep that in mind. It's another piece of the puzzle as that investment, the total amount of invested comes down, so does that investment income. That just makes our deficit worse. So we've been really working, and she's been a great partner in keeping it in there as long as possible. So, but okay. Just more stuff to think about. You know, 1.6, it was a little like, oh, because she's like, well, yeah, it's 1.6. She's like, that's because we got a $1.5 million deposit yesterday. Like, really, it's 100,000, which is like pennies.
So if all the county board members had their tax bills right now and we all just wrote the check, that's gonna help a little bit.
Pay both.
Put it in our mailboxes so that we can get it out.
That's what I said first. Well, that's what I said. We had, there was a small minor hiccup getting the invoice paid for the postage. Like, we had to get those tax bills sent out.
I don't do for electronic deliveries.
So, that's that. I'll be giving an update, next week at the cow. And then next month, I'll have, the quarterly update, and we'll have ARPA as well.
Just a note, I would probably have switched those two announcements. You know, give us the bad news first and then go to the audit.
I want it to be a little dramatic.
Could I ask that either, whatever works for you, maybe next month or the following month, depending on what's going on. You know, we talked a little bit, and I sent an email this morning regarding P cards. If we could have a conversation regarding P cards and credit cards and how they're used and they're kind of all over the place and what
Yes.
they're being used for, and, you know, I don't know, you know, if there's opportunities in places and things like that, but we've got people buying office supplies on Amazon. We've got AT&T bills being paid from one area. We got multiple Shaw, you know, subscriptions going on at places, and, you know, media and things like that. So
Yes.
they're pennies, but they add up.
100%. The P card and credit card area, I think we need some consolidation, some better controls. I know that Amazon sales rep reached out to us. So again, not necessarily that's the best route, but
It's convenient,
yeah.
but I don't know, you know.
But having departments use the P card to get things from Amazon, you know, that kind of stuff. And that's definitely on my radar. I think it will be my goal for next year, to be honest. Prioritizing, you know, with the new payroll system.
Sure.
Yes.
You mean they're not using a Prime account where we get cash back on the Amazon purchases? They're using a P card?
Yes.
That's a lot of money. That's 6%.
I have to, they have an analysis I need to look at it. I think, so really what the idea would be is to work with one bank and put everything in there, including employee reimbursements. And then we get rebates. So that's the idea.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any other questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see, EDC, I have asked Chairman Mueller to have Mark and myself give a presentation regarding the Germany delegation. I can briefly say it went really, really well. We made a lot of good contact. It was a grueling schedule that the German consulate put together for us. We woke up at like 6:30 every morning and didn't get back home until 9:30 or 10, sometimes even after midnight. So it was, I didn't get a lot of sleep, but it was very enjoyable. I think we made good contacts, but again, I had asked the chairman for Mark and I to give a report to the full board, so we'll do that at a future meeting. Natural McHenry County?
Yes, sir. Naturally, McHenry County will have a full board meeting this afternoon where we will be discussing our 27 budget. Again, there are different options that are being presented to us, and I look forward to a robust debate.
Debate versus discussion?
Or discussion.
All right, is there anything else? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 10:47. John makes a motion and Larry seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.